town, right? And this is the terrain of the ghetto. I want to show you maps of more or less where we are and how it fits into Czestochowa. Just a second. Yeah. So if we are looking at this map of Czestochowa, we walked all the aleja. This is the Rynek Warszawski or Nowy Rynek. We crossed and had lunch here at the corner of the Old Town Square. And then we went here and to the right to the street here called Nadrzeczna that goes along the river, the Warta River. A little branch of the river is just down here, right? There's a little bridge crossing it over here. And if we look at this map of town, this will show us the ghetto in town, right? So the ghetto that was formed, as I said, in March, April 1940, was done behind the rail tracks on that side of town, next to the Warta. It included the Nowy Rynek, the Stary Rynek over here. And later, when the ghetto was diminished into a small ghetto, this is only the corner over here that is painted in orange, yellowish. This is what's called the small ghetto. The ghetto in Czestochowa was one of the biggest in the in occupied Poland, and the Jewish community of Czestochowa was about 25 to 35,000, but in the ghetto there were up to 40,000 people. Jews were sent here from Radomsko, from Piotrków, from the area, and also from the Reich itself, from Berlin and other places. And it was quite well packed, and it was at the most poor part of town. That was considered poor even before the war. As the town grew, wealthier and middle-class Jewish families has left those areas of town and moved westwards, where we saw the Lettermans were living.
When you say it was the second biggest ghetto in Europe, did you say?
No. I said third biggest in Polish occupation. So it really depends.
So how to compare to Warsaw?
Warsaw around 500,000.
And how many here?
Lodz around 200,000.
And how many here?
Here around 40,000. Right, but Lvov is not part of. Never mind.
It doesn't matter. No.
One of the biggest ghettos, and the conditions were horrible. But we are now at the monument for deportations, and it's here because this is the place where people were deported. This was an old this building over there, a part of a rail branch that got up into here. It was called Zawodzie, the railroad on the water, and they needed to cross a little footbridge to the other side of the river, and on the other side of the river where you see all the autostrada, the main Warsaw-Krakow road over there, was a branch of a railroad station where people were deported. The Czestochowa deportation happened very quickly. About 25,000 people were deported in 6 deportations in late September, early October 1942. And this is an incredible amount. 6 deportations, 6 days, 25 more or less thousand people, numbers between 25 and 30,000, to Treblinka, which is on the other side of Poland. It's like 300 kilometers away. Northeast of Warsaw, right? So quite long. And people are being deported from Treblinka, and some of them are also working in Treblinka. And in Treblinka in August of that year, there is a rebellion. There are some people who managed to get the keys to the armory. They wait for a very warm day when the German people are going to wash themselves in the river to cool off, and they are bidding some Ukrainian guards open the armory, take weapons, take some weapons from the guards, shoot some and kill some, and they escape. About 300 people working at the camp, Jews, escape. 77 of them would survive the war. Around 300 people escape. Some die in the woods. Some are people are rattling about them, and some come back to ghettos because they know it would be easier to survive. They said there was a phrase that it was easier to get outside the ghetto than to survive outside the ghetto, right? Because you're always in fear that people will recognize you, tell you're Jewish, use it to get money out of you or to rattle you to the German officials. So there are two testimonies about Treblinka already. First people who escaped come to Warsaw. The first testimony about Treblinka is from an unknown source. The second source of Treblinka is from a guy called Jakub Krzepicki, family from Krzepice. Krzepicki.
I had a boy who went to school with me whose family was Shepitsky in Poland. Shepitsky. They changed the name in Australia to Shepherd.
Yeah. Okay, but there was a K in the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, Krzepicki, meaning from Krzepicka. So Jakub Krzepicki is giving a testimony. He would later also be sent and killed, but those testimonies are being smuggled outside of the ghetto in Warsaw. They reach through the Polish underground. The report of Jan Karski, who is writing a report about the situation of Jews in occupied territory of Poland for the Polish government in exile. And this report that has information about Treblinka and what's going on in Treblinka is reaching the Allies, the American government, the British government. Not much is done with this. We won't talk about Karski right now. But it also comes to Czestochowa ghetto, and then one of the guys also who from Czestochowa who came to Warsaw ghetto is coming back to Czestochowa. There was a way for people to move between ghettos. Once, if you had some false papers or something like this, you could have moved. And around this time, when there are news about Treblinka, and there is, and Jews are understanding that rebellion is needed, we're gonna die anyway. So at least die with some kind of fighting back. This is the time where the Jewish Combat Organization is organizing. Ani Levich and Tosha Altman are coming here to Czestochowa to organize members of the resistance here. And
really?
Yes, and in January 1943, when there's a news of another akcja, of another deportation from the small ghetto, there is an uprising in Czestochowa.
That's the same time as the first uprising in Warsaw.
Yes.
Also in January.
The January uprising in Warsaw, it was a few days before. I think Fishelevich was the name of the commander of the Jewish Combat Organization in Czestochowa. But there is also a little Czestochowa uprising. In the end, the little ghetto is a place for about 15,000 workers, and it's not called a ghetto anymore. It's called a work camp, because it's not functioning as a residential area, but it's functioning as a work camp, and people are working in factories around. And in the end, only around 5,000 Jews are left working for Hasag factory. Hasag is an acronym for Hugo Schneider Alte Gesellschaft. So
one of them was our cousin Henry. Yeah.
Yes, Germany industrialists who owned weapon factories that were, of course, working for the German military. And when Czestochowa is liberated, around 5,000 Jews working at the Hasag factory are here. Around 1,500 of them are local Czestochowians. If we come back to the deportations, because where we are here is about the deportation. Here it says about 40,000 Jews were deported. But the time of the deportation, 22nd September to 7th October, the numbers are probably 25 to 30, 40,000 is the general number of Jews deported from Czestochowa. Also in other times, it's memorials. It's very hard to be precise.
Yeah.
But back once again to the deportations. Whoopa. There is a piece of paper there that's really breaking the heart. Have you taken a look? Let's maybe go there and have a look at this